So the lead up to Splatoon Raiders has been pretty interesting as Nintendo revealed this game for the first time out of nowhere just a few weeks after the Switch 2 had released last year, where they made the announcement on the Nintendo Today app where they were like, by the way, Splatoon is getting its very first spin-off game and it's coming out on the Switch 2, and that was pretty much all they said. And we knew that the game was called Splatoon Raiders. They gave like a small little teaser where we got to see Shiver and Fry and Big Man and stuff, but we didn't really have anything else to go off of. And then after that, we had to wait like a good couple of months until we got more information in Nintendo Directs and other videos that were uploaded after. But finally, just a few days ago, was the official release of Splatoon Raiders. And I've been playing this game for a couple of hours, so I've had some time to kind of sink into it and really kind of see what the game is like, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys inside of this video because what I can say is this game genuinely surprised me and I was not expecting it to turn out the way that it did. So Salmon Run has existed inside of Splatoon ever since Splatoon 2, but it's always just been a PvE type of mode where you and a couple of friends can try to take on waves and waves of these salmonids and try to survive for as long as you can, kind of akin to like the zombies modes that are inside of Call of Duty games where you can try to get as high as you can in the rounds and see how long you can survive, which it can be kind of fun, and I did do that with some of my friends for a little bit, but I never really got super into it. And when they did reveal like the first look of this game and we got to see that it was just gonna have like salmonids again and you're trying to kill them and stuff, like to me that didn't really seem super interesting, so I was kind of hesitant on if this game would really be something for me. But after actually playing Splatoon Raiders, what I was able to see is that this game isn't just about trying to survive from salmonids for as long as you can, but it's in fact an entire looter shooter where you're going around trying to gather as much materials and resources as you can so that you can then use it to upgrade your stuff and try to have a more powerful character going into future levels. And it has a ton of RPG elements, which is what really got me, as RPGs are my favorite genre of video games. I absolutely love RPGs, and especially like a lot of the gameplay for them when it can turn out to be very fun. And when you take that and combine it with shooters, which is also a genre that I really enjoy, it can make for something that is very addictive, and I think that's what Splatoon Raiders just ended up doing for me. So right off the bat, one of the best things that I love about this game is that because the entire game is built on just trying to collect as much treasure as you can and looting all of these levels, you actually can't get punished for any of the treasure that you've collected. And I think that this is the best decision that they've made because it allows for people to be much more creative and not have to worry about risking stuff because they don't have anything to lose. See, the treasure that you find inside of these levels is actually randomly generated for every person, so if I play a level and unlock a weapon inside of it, it doesn't mean that when you play that level, you're also gonna find the same weapon. You might get something even better, or you might find the same weapon that I did earlier in the game, or you might get it a little bit later, so it really makes everyone's experience unique. But the best part is that all of the stuff that you've collected, even if you die or something happens, you don't lose anything that you have, and once you get it, it is yours forever. So I really love that because it allows for people to be more creative. They could try to take more risks and try to do different strategies and stuff because they don't have to worry about like playing super safe if they find something really rare, because it doesn't mean that you're gonna lose it or anything. You can keep everything that you find and you can keep replaying these levels, so I really appreciate that. I feel like the difficulty inside of this game has also been really fair too. I'm playing it on the standard mode because I'm not trying to go like for a super hard playthrough or anything like that, but even just on the standard difficulty, like I feel like the game has done a really good job of keeping me on my toes, because you can't just like do everything like a walk in the park where it's just like a breeze and you can just keep shooting everything and it's really easy. You do have to be kind of aware of like what's going on with some of these bosses and how you can take them out and stuff, but at the same time, it's also not so frustratingly difficult that you're getting like really angry and upset because you just can't beat these levels. So I think they did a really good job with that, and they're doing a really good job at just kind of slightly increasing the difficulty as each level progresses. So as long as they can keep doing that until the end of the game, I think that's going to be really awesome, unless maybe later into the game there's like a massive spike in difficulty where it just gets like really difficult out of nowhere. If they can keep just kind of slightly tweaking it like this as we get further into the game, that's going to make for a really good end game, I feel. And I've already heard a lot of people saying the end game, like after you actually beat the main game, has gotten really crazy with a lot of extra challenges and things that you can do too, so that is also really nice to hear. So, out of everything this game has, by far the biggest thing that got me really into it is what they did with the customization, because this game has so many different little things that you can customize, and it's essentially like an RPG, and that's how you get me, because one of my favorite things to do inside of RPGs is when they have a really fun gameplay system, I really love to make my characters as powerful as I can and try different combinations with all the gear and things that you can unlock to try to make them really broken, and you can pretty much do the exact same type of thing inside of this game. So just taking a quick tour here through the menus, you can see here that you can customize your weapon. So Splatoon of course has a lot of different weapon types, from shooters to like brushes and rollers and stuff, so you can get whichever one is your favorite for that. But then you've got this really cool thing called gadgets, where there's a lot of different gadgets that you find throughout the game, and all of these gadgets have different ways that they can be used, where you can have like a little mini gadget where you can place it and it'll just keep shooting on its own. You can get like abilities where like you dash up and explode, and like there's a lot of different cool things that you can get. But the best part is that these gadgets can then also be tinkered even further, where you can add extra abilities on top of that, where like they do even more damage, they have more range, they explode when you first start them up. Like there's a lot of different customization options for that. And then you've got like these relic powers, which are like your passive abilities that you have, where like you can add like extra health to your characters, you can have them use up less ink in your weapons and stuff. So like you've got all these different like abilities that you unlock through the relics inside of the game. And then you've got the tanks, which essentially decides your whole playstyle, so you can equip whichever tank you want for whatever type of gameplay experience you want to have. So if you really want to have like an offensive experience where you get up and close and try to have as much action as possible, then you can equip a power tank for that. If you'd rather be much more defensive and really fast and getting away from all the enemies from a safe distance, then you can have a speed tank for that. And then there's also the one that I'm using, which is the tactical tank, if you want to be much more like strategic and have cooler abilities and try to like figure out which type of positioning you want and stuff like that. So it's really cool because all of the different gadgets that you unlock are tied to the different types of tanks that you have. So you really want to have to like think about like which type of tank is going to give you which type of gadget, and then what type of experience that's going to lead to overall. So it's really cool. And then on top of all of that, there's even different abilities that you have with like your ultimate ability, and that's tied to like which party member you bring with you, and that's known as like the bot buddy, which like you can equip either Shiver or Fry or Big Man, and they each have their own unique abilities that you can use inside of the levels. So that is also really cool to see. And so just like in a good RPG, when you've got a lot of different abilities and things that you unlock as you play through the game, and you start thinking of cool ideas like, hey, if this ability gives me this power, and then if I can do this, can I also combine it with this so that I can do this? And then it leads to coming up with like really cool ideas that make you super powerful. You can think of all the same type of stuff that you can do now inside of this game, and there are so many different builds and combinations and things that you can come up with, and I've already seen some really insane ones. I've seen people coming up with builds where they have done more damage from all of the extra gadgets and extra stuff that they have, to the point where they can take out entire hordes and they don't even need to shoot anything from their main weapon. So it is really cool with all the customization and all the cool builds that you can make, and that is easily like the best part that this game has to offer. So if that sounds something that could be really fun for you and interesting and you really want to mess around with it, that is like definitely the biggest selling point I feel like with this game. Now real quick, just touching on the graphics and visuals, because Nintendo's games are more cartoony and stylized, you're not really going to see like an insane graphical leap coming from one generation to another like you do for like the more realistic games that we see on like PlayStation. But with that being said, there are definitely changes to this game coming from Splatoon 3 that I feel like a lot of people wouldn't notice right away, but they can be when you see them side by side. So for example, the ink physics inside of this game are much better, I feel like, than Splatoon 3, and there are some comparison videos online too, where you can see that just the entire ink itself looks much more liquidy, and like the physics of that have been improved, especially when you're like swimming around and how it moves the ink around on the ground and stuff too. So stuff like that has been improved. The resolution, of course, the game is running at a sharper resolution than it did on the Switch 1. And we also have the first Splatoon game now using HDR, and I am going to be uploading this video in HDR quality too, so you might see that in the YouTube video as well, where just the spectral highlights and the colors inside of the levels, and especially the ink and stuff, look really nice as well. So it is just really cool to see that now on the Nintendo Switch 2, but really the best example of why a game like this is exclusive to the Switch 2 isn't really because of the graphics or the visuals, but more so the gameplay, because some of these levels get insanely hectic and you can just kind of see right away like, yeah, this would not have been able to run on the original Switch. And the last thing, I also really appreciate how the levels inside of this game are relatively short, so you're not going in there and spending like 30, 40 minutes or over an hour in them. You can get in and out of them pretty quick, and because of that, it makes for a really pleasant gameplay experience because you go into a level, spend a few minutes in there, come back with your treasure, and you have all of these different things that you can use to upgrade your gear, make your character stronger and stuff, and then go back into a level and do the same thing again. And the levels are not the exact same thing for all of them either. There's different types of levels, so you've got like more explorable ones where you can like kind of go off the main path and find little secrets and extra treasure in that sense. You can find like timed ones where like you've got these certain dungeons that you have to do in a certain amount of time or you die. And then of course you've got like the really cool boss battles where you have like different ways of beating them, so those are really fun too. So just the entire game overall has been really fun for me in these first couple of hours, and I've been just having a blast with it. So I definitely recommend it if anything that I mentioned in this video sounded fun or interesting. And yeah, honestly, this might be the most fun Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, I think, since Donkey Kong Bonanza, because what else has really come after? We've had like Mario Tennis Fever and Pokemon Pocopia, I think. So yeah, I really think that this is probably the most fun that I've had with a Nintendo Switch 2 game since Donkey Kong Bonanza, but you guys can let me know how you feel about that. But yeah, this game has a lot of content. Like, it's crazy that it's a $50 game. Like, it's not even a full price Switch 2 game, and there's like around 20 or so hours that I've heard people saying that it takes for you to beat the main game, but there's even endgame content for extra challenges that you can do after. There's also the co-op aspect where you can do all the levels with your friends. That aspect is so cool to just have multiplayer for like the main adventure, and like you and your friends can go through all the levels together. That's super cool too. So yeah, overall this game has just been a lot of fun, and I definitely think a lot of people would enjoy it as well. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm definitely gonna have some more videos talking about Nintendo stuff, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this. Did any of you guys get Splatoon Raiders? Are you having a good time with it? How do you feel about the game? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about it, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.